Industries have incredible ability to collaborate, yet few people know about it. Many real estate agents work in a silo. Many insurance professionals work in a silo. Today, we're going to uncover what's happening on the tech side of insurance and how real estate professionals can either leverage that platform or they can actually learn from it to say, what's happening with tech and how do I differentiate from big tech? I've got an industry superstar with us today who's going to give us, kind of a rundown of what's happening in the insurance industry. And you as a real estate agent are going to be able to, again, to be really clear on how you differentiate your value proposition and how you collaborate with insurance. It's going to be a great episode. Stay with us. The big question is this: how do those of us in the real estate industry with crazy amounts of ambition, how do we think bigger than the building of our own empires? How do we simultaneously seek success and significance, income and impact? My name is Justin Stoddard, and this is the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Hey guys, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Excited to be with you here today. I have with me Aaron. He is the co-founder and COO of Obie Insurance. Aaron Letsizer. Aaron, you have a pretty successful background. You've built multiple companies, had successful exits. Actually, we're in the 30 under 30, obviously at a young age, and now you've built a really interesting tech platform for the insurance industry. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Justin. Happy to be here.
You know, one thing that Aaron and I have discussed previously is, and I asked him this kind of question point blank: is Obie designed to enhance existing insurance professionals or to replace them? And he actually said both, that it could replace them or it could enhance them. So their products are available both for insurance agents to sell, as well as they can go direct to consumer or direct to that. So one of the things that I want to get from this episode, as you know, I authored the book, The Upstream Model, which lays out very clearly what the threats are to service-based professionals if they do not differentiate, if they do not actually take some of the lessons from other industries and say, how do I differentiate from big tech? You will be replaced by it. And so we're going to learn not only a little bit about insurance today, what's happening in that market, in that industry, but also I want you to be listening for lessons on how you can collaborate with insurance and be enhanced by it as opposed to being replaced by it. So, or have tech replace you. So let's dive into this, Aaron. First and foremost, I know there's a lot of questions around the country with insurance. I know California, Florida, are a couple industries or a couple states that are having kind of significant challenges with insurance. How does that impact your platform and kind of what's happening in the world? Can you give us kind of an update on what's happening with insurance, kind of holistically, that will give real estate agents that are listening to this some intelligent things to say to the clients that they're serving?
Yeah, I mean, it's an important question right now. I think, you know, every other week through 2023, and I think we'll see this definitely going into the early parts of 2024. You hear of another carrier going bankrupt or pulling out of the state of Florida. You hear of another carrier that's going to be pulling out of California. You're finding carriers that just broadly decide, hey, you know, we don't want to cover anything that's been built before 1990, right? They don't want anything that's more than, 30 or so years old. And the reason being is really the last couple of years have been tough from a loss perspective, right? So you have the hurricanes that people could generally model for, but you've got a lot of the California wildfires. You had that crazy fire in Hawaii recently. You had that very unexpected winter storm in Texas a couple of years ago. So you've got a lot of claims that are coming up. And then beyond that, most of, and your real estate agent listeners will certainly understand this. They've been, I'm sure, hearing it, especially from their fix and flip clients. The price of materials has gone up substantially, right? With inflation, even the cost of lumber has gone up. And so when an insurance carrier agrees with you on what that replacement cost should be, and then undoubtedly the worst happens, the place unfortunately burns down, they're the ones that told you, hey, like this is what it's going to cost to replace it. Now they're going to replace it, but it's going to cost them an extra 20 to 30% more because of those materials. And so for a lot of these carriers are saying, you know what, we're gonna hit pause. We're gonna pull out of some of these high risk states, and we're gonna just reevaluate what the market looks like. And unfortunately, it's the clients at the end of the day, whether they're going through a renewal process or they're going through a closing process on a home, they're the ones that are really left with without a lot of additional choice there. And so, Obie's at least been able to weather that storm, pun intended, I guess, to be able to get through a lot of that and still be able to offer coverage instantly. And as you said, either direct through our different partners and distribution channels, or through really good proactive agents that want to utilize technology as they grow their own business.
Yeah, I appreciate that update. Really, really insightful. It's interesting when, as you've helped me to understand kind of what Obie's offering, you guys have built some interesting technology that really interfaces with real estate tech. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we got our start. I started the company and co-founded with my brother Ryan. His background was real estate, private equity, and mine was in insurance and a couple other businesses. And we felt like insurance was always a large pain point in our investing career, even as a homeowner. And so we recognized that as property technology companies were starting to grow, why not figure out a way of adding in that kind of pain in the butt experience of getting insurance? Why not add that into a platform that somebody's already using, going through that closing process, looking at a marketplace, utilizing something as a kind of your own solo property manager, or maybe a hobbyist investor. We wanted to make it really easy for people to be able to do that. And so we embedded that insurance quote and bind process directly inside of a lot of the tools that somebody like your real estate agents or your loan officers would use on a day-to-day basis. Make insurance one less thing that becomes a barrier to that closing table.
It's really an eye opener. It should be for all insurance agents who have kind of got their business by passively waiting for a lender or an insurance or a lender or a real estate agent or property manager to call them to ask for an insurance binder, right? Is that if you're sitting around passively waiting and your only value is giving a quote, your days are limited, because great technologies like Obie are coming in and saying, like, you're not a solution. You are one unnecessary step that we can eliminate, right? We're going to eliminate that by simply embedding into the existing software that's there. I think it's brilliant on your part, right? And it ought to be a really kind of clarion call to all insurance agents that the days of just quoting business are limited, right?
I mean, people want, especially your new home buyers, even your investors. They've grown up with an iPhone. They have an expectation of technology, right? It's the same as real estate agents as it is with insurance agents. We love working with really good, high quality insurance agents, and they enjoy working with us as well. They can pull that quote instantly, even if you have to make a change, right? And I've sat on the other end of this table. You've got that real estate agent that's hoping this thing closes. Obviously, they're going to get their commission. They want to make sure that this thing actually gets inked, but you find an error in something, right? And undoubtedly, for whatever reason, these closings are 3:00 on a Friday, and your insurance agent's on the golf course or someplace else, right? Or even if you get a hold of them, they say, all right, let me go talk to the carrier. And hopefully somebody at the carrier is still there, right? And so we want to be able to build technology that would empower either the actual owner who's going through that process themselves, or through their agent, to be able to quickly jump on, make additional changes, get a lot of that transparency that otherwise I think is lost, inside of 50-page PDFs that, would otherwise are a relic, I think, of times past, both in insurance and in most other industries.
Yeah. Well, I think exactly what you guys have identified, the unnecessary waste, the unnecessary kind of fat on the meat, right, is going to be eliminated, especially when you have a generation that, as you identified, has grown up with technology, right, that loves it, prefers it, that you actually have to create a pretty significant value proposition to be able to stand out, to have people to not just say, why would I want to talk to anybody about this? Why wouldn't I just go here and just get it done, right? And I think you shared some experiences in which, right, obviously there's times and situations that are extremely time sensitive where that makes total sense. And again, I just emphasize to real estate, to wealth management, to tax preparation, to all the industries out there, that technology is being developed that will do anything that an algorithm can write, an algorithm for, because there's a generation that, although you might see it as a value add to talk to a human, there's an upcoming generation that doesn't, right? They see it as unnecessary and maybe an inconvenience. And so to capture that market share, which, by the way, I just read today, that the largest group of, in fact, here's the stats, right? Housing demand will be fueled by the largest generation of potential home buyers ever, the millennials. The millennial population is 72 million. And so you look at the number of people, it's bigger than the baby boomer generation, right? They are moving into situations of having the wealth now to decide how they want transactions to go. And it's really interesting to see great technology like Obie coming in and making it very, very easy for people to not have to go through a professional. And so one of the things that we teach, right, that I'm sure insurance agents that are selling Obie or any other product can say, how do I layer on knowledge that's unique and even a relationship that allows me to give advice based on the unique things I know about that family, right, about that household. And that's, I'm sure technology with artificial intelligence will be combating that. But at this point, I feel like that is kind of the blue ocean or the safe haven for professionals, is to take great insurance, like, for example, Obie, right? And be able to layer on unique knowledge on top of that makes them less of an insurance agent and more of an insurance advisor. And when you can really move into the advisory role, there's an added layer of value there for the clients that you serve, to where they now see a need to not just go direct through tech to get there, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree, right? And I think that's, to the point you made earlier, that's where the market's going at the end of the day. And there's nothing frustrating more frustrating than, I keep using this example, right? But if you're trying to get a deal closed, you're trying to get something done, how easy the change would be, but you're relying on other people to be able to make that change, right? Yeah. What we see all the time is, something your audience would be familiar with. There's a mortgagee clause, right, inside of your insurance. You got to get the little thing. It's a couple of lines, right? It's exactly who your lender is. And if there's a typo on that, right, like, we're going to sit and wait to sign your closing docs until that's cleared up, right? And it's easy. Give me a PDF editor, right? Like, I want to go in there and do that, right? We're inside of a generation that's going to expect that. And to your point, there's millions, right? Tens of millions of millennials that are going to be looking at purchasing a home, going to be moving into this market. You got the baby boomer generation that wants to start downsizing, people that, have been, especially in the current market, locked into their house and haven't been able to sell for a little while. Right. I think that there's really, despite some of the, I think, the lows of the course of the last year, and obviously transaction volume has been low, but I think there's going to be a incredible resurgence that's going to be taking place over the course of the next 12, 24, 36, 5, 10 plus years. And all of that is going to give way to a new market of technology that's really going to help support people do their jobs, right? Most of this stuff is not going to necessarily replace your job unless you allow it to, right? Otherwise, it does a really great job of being able to support what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis and the value that then you're able to provide to some of these folks.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think, I've heard it said numerous times that AI is not going to replace people. It's people who utilize the power of AI, right? Or the power of great technology platforms are going to replace people, right? It's not the technology, it's the people who are empowered to properly use the technology. Those are the ones that are really going to win. And so I think, it's not a sky is falling scenario unless your feet are in concrete and you're unwilling to move and adapt and really become more valuable to the client and embrace the new technology that makes it easier to take care of the mundane, right? Easier to take care of the stuff that doesn't need a human doing it, right? Technology does it better. It's more accurate. It's faster. It's easier. It's more simple. It's more convenient, right? Stop trying to be in the way of all those things, trying to profess that I'm doing it to enhance my client relationship. Like, enhance the things that technology doesn't do well, right? And I think that's where professionals really start to stand out. Let's talk a little bit about, insurance for single family rental apartment real estate investors. You guys have a unique kind of offering for that. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Obviously, you guys have built the technology to embed with some of those entities. Anything that you're seeing kind of trends in that space that might be helpful for those that again serve, whether it be investors or those that are dealing with even just single family client insurance? Anything that would be helpful for us to know on that front?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially as home prices continue to remain strong for a lot. So, for a large portion of the owners that exist out there. And so the single and multifamily rental markets are going to continue, I think, to remain strong. You're going to have a portion of the population that has to continue to rent, or might find that to be just more cost effective for them. And so over the last 10 years, the single family rental market has become quite popular. I think that that's going to continue to remain true over the next several years. And they have a very similar situation, right? I think even more so than your average home buyer. It's tough to get insurance. The average time to turn around a quote is usually 3 to 5 business days.
Wow.
And one of the pieces that we found was always frustrating is that, unlike a homeowner where there's a lot of love, there's a lot of intrinsic value in the home that you purchased, right? And you're going to buy insurance for it, and the cost kind of is what it is. Same thing with auto insurance. You look at it differently. But as a real estate investor and anybody that's buying a property, most of these investors, the vast majority of the 17 million that are out there, they're small kind of mom and pop hobbyist investors. They own 2 to 3 properties a piece. Most, real estate agents in the US are also landlords themselves. And it's tough for them to get insurance because the insurance market has always seen that as kind of an ancillary product, right? They want to get you into the home and auto, and then they want to ask you, do you have a rental property, the vacation home, the RV? And so that product really hasn't gotten a lot of love in that space. And I think that's an even more archaic process to obtain a quote on, and certainly make a change if you're sitting there at the closing table. And so that's really what Obie originally set out to do, is how can we start to solve these problems and provide transparency and really, put the owner in the driver's seat and become the master of their own destiny. And so we can offer, an instant rate for any 1 to 4 unit rental property structure anywhere in the US. There are some underwriting guidelines there, right? If you tell me you're going to buy a $3 million short-term rental Airbnb on the beach in Miami, little tougher to do. But for the most part, we wanted to build a product where you could run through either directly or through an agent or through a partner, and really be able to get that instant quote, and then become the one to change or adjust anything on there, because those real estate investors really do see themselves as business owners. And so the dollars and cents on their P&L really do make a difference. And the challenge with the insurance space traditionally is you send out a bunch of information, you sign an application, you send out an Excel spreadsheet of data, and what you get back is this static PDF. Well, what if I want to change that to a $5,000 deductible? What if I want to change to 10? What if I want to add in these other coverages? What if I want to move this one down a little bit? Every one of those is an individual change. You have to go back to your agent, and the agent goes back to the carrier, right? And that's an awful process. And so we want to be able to build something where you can sit there and really make those changes to your heart's content, right? And feel really good about the purchase that you're making, and make that as seamless and as transparent, as easy as you want to make that at the end of the day. You can call somebody. We have agents that are available, but if you want to sit there on a Saturday morning and never have to talk to anybody, you can certainly do that and check the insurance part of your closing process off the list.
Fascinating. It's great, I think, to see where tech is going. And I also think it's as I mentioned, a real eye opener for professionals who are kind of resting on their laurels, that this next generation is going to be like the previous generation, where they just value a relationship so much that they'll do whatever you ask them to do, right? People are looking for convenience, they're looking for easier, faster, something that's more convenient. And if you aren't providing that and aren't partnered with platforms that help you to provide that, then guess what? There's a good chance you're going to be replaced, right? And kind of removed from that. So I would encourage everybody to take a close look at if you do want to capture that any of that 72 million millennial buyer crowd that's coming in. It's a great time to really say what technology is out there that allows me to be very valuable to my clients, and allows me to offer that convenience, and then layer in the advisory work, layer in the deep relationship work, and you really will be invincible. You really will have value from all sides. So appreciate it very much, Aaron. By the way, for those that are interested in learning more, obieinsurance.com is Aaron's company. Aaron, I want to close out with kind of this question. Obviously, you've done some incredible things at a young age. What is it that Aaron does to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your possibilities? What does that look like for you?
I think it's about it's really all about attitude, right? I think most people, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner, most real estate agents, I consider them small business owners themselves. They're really running their own process, right? Keep your mind open to what is possible, right? Look at it and ask why not instead of why, right? Or how. What would it look like if it was actually possible, right? How would you do it? what would you do? If you don't know, who do you think might know? Right. And I think that's really the key to be able to start thinking bigger, is being able to open your mind out to what those possibilities might actually look like, and how you are actually empowered to figure that out. Right. You can actually go a little bit deeper and figure out what the solution or what the answer might be, to expand, what you believe is possible, and how you can start to actually think bigger about the things that are important to you.
I love it. Yeah. All change and progress begins with an open mind, right? That there is a greater possibility out there. So I love that. I want to thank you for being on the show. I also want to do a kind of shout out to our sponsor, Pro Insight, which is a company I lead, where we help professionals to differentiate in the marketplace by collaborating with other professionals. And I'm grateful for for their support. And I put up here, if you're interested in really getting 2 to 3 more warm referrals from other professionals per month, you'll see on the screen there's a QR code that you can snap if you're watching this live or after the fact. That's a quick questionnaire that helps us to learn more about you, to see if you might be the right fit for what we're looking for. And you can actually claim a territory, claim your specific zip code, and be the professional in that area that has the ability to then partner with other professionals from other industries. So again, Aaron, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate all that you're contributing to. It sounds like the insurance industry and just the development of great technology. And I think there's been some great lessons from from a number of different angles today that have helped us to be better. So appreciate you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Justin.
And my final request of everybody listening here today are these three simple words, and they are: go think bigger. Thanks again, Aaron. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
You found value in anything that you heard here today, do me a favor and just take a quick screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on social media. That will give you the heads up to create more content like this in future episodes. Also, if you are wanting to build your wealth advisory team in less than 30 days that gives you 2 to 4 professional referrals every month, go to proinsight.com, and or you can reach out to me directly on social media